We're looking at an employee and it's, $1,000 a week, and then go, well, if they're not doing anything for 3 weeks, that's cost me $3,000.
There should be enough margin in what you're doing to be able to weather the storm where sometimes the staff aren't at 100% of their output.
Aspirational business owners that we're working with are constantly fighting to find time to work on their business, and I think your employees are a great key to help you unlock the time to be able to work on the business by being able to delegate.
What do you do when your staff have nothing to do? This is something that quite often comes up with various clients, typically in that construction type space, but it's something that we all face where we have staff where they're not as busy as other areas or times of the year, and then we start to freak out that they need to be as busy the entire year round, otherwise it's costing us a lot of money.
I think a lot of business owners would hear that and they would probably start to feel gross inside, that little perhaps ick feeling, and they're probably leaning towards, well, if there's nothing to do, why have you got them? Let's get rid of them. And you touched on construction. I would probably go a step further and say definitely hospitality, definitely retail. And with two examples, when we were in Hawke's Bay, Grace and I, a few months ago, we walked past one retail shop, and there was a young lady in there sitting behind the counter on her phone, just completely disengaged. No one was in the store, to be fair. Walked past again, same thing. Like, you're paying for somebody to sit there on their phone, presumably scrolling, maybe TikTok, definitely not the Next Advisory school group. And then the other example would be on the home front, the eldest daughter has a job at a hospitality venue, which shall remain nameless. But if you go back to prior pods, you'll probably be able to work it out. And now that university's finished pretty much for the year, has picked up more hours, and she was bored as batshit the other day, and she's messaging me on Snapchat or whatever it was, sending videos, working out how much she was getting paid, and then scanned around, and the place was empty. And she's like, I'm getting paid to stand here and do nothing. And she's mentioned that a couple of times now. So I'm like, well, what do you reckon you could be doing? And I said to her, it's boring. And I'm like, why don't you listen to an audiobook? How do you reckon that went down?
Not great.
No. She's like, I can't be there with headphones in. And I'm like, well, I didn't say you had to have headphones in. I'm like, you could just have an audiobook there and just start and listen and learn. Like, you could learn Japanese. You could learn French. You could learn about something. You could learn something about what you're studying for to help you next year. No, I'm being far too smart and too practical. That's not the cool thing to do. But with the examples that we've got from business owners to these other couple that I've just shared, it's flicking the switch of going, let's not see employees as a cost to the business, but a comment that you shared with a business owner of going, actually, these people are assets, let's leverage off them. And business owners are constantly, like aspirational business owners that we're working with, are constantly fighting to find time to work on their business. And I think your employees are a great key to help you unlock the time to be able to work on the business by being able to delegate.
Yeah, because I think what happens a lot of the times, if we look at them as a cost, then we think, okay, if they're quiet, to recover this cost, I need to find revenue for them.
Yep.
And all the time we see this from business owners that are doing work that isn't really their core offering, but they do it to, quote, keep the team, keep the guys, keep the gals busy. And we're going, but you guys don't even really do that or want to be doing that, so why are you doing it? Well, we need to keep them busy. Well, I don't want them sitting there doing nothing. And it sparked a conversation amongst a group of business owners as well, where they started talking to each other, being like, well, here's what I do. And so that gave us an idea to, A, talk about the cost versus revenue piece, and instead looking at it as an investment, i.e. the wage being an investment, building the asset. But then secondly, some of the things that our clients tell us that they get their staff to do. And people may leave a comment to let other people know what to do.
I thought, and it comes back to just your natural way of thinking, or how you've like learnt to think of going, like looking them at as a cost is it's that begrudging negative thinking of thinking, okay, how can we flip this to be a positive? And then going, well, okay, you've got somebody that's working in retail behind the counter, disengaged. what can you be getting them to do to make them look engaged, that if somebody happens to walk past who's just out of town, is kind of like intrigued to go, oh, I'll go in there because the place looks like it's either welcoming or there's something going on. Because typically when you've got 1 or 2 people in a shop and it looks busy, it's going to create interest from other people to go, oh, what's going on in there? I'll go in and have a look.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's just empty and there's not a lot of fuck all going on, people are just going to go, yeah, I'm not going to waste my time going in there. It looks boring. I'll just carry on.
You'd almost think that in this day and age, you would get the people who may be looking for something to do to create some content, or maybe, maybe they take a photo of a certain product and say this has been really popular, and it goes onto social media, or we've made this cocktail, for instance, get down and try it. But doing things that are going to, that's effectively using your staff member as an asset to then invest into future revenue, rather than, oh wow, they're a cost, I need to be making that money back ASAP. And I think the construction industry is probably easier to explain it in, where people then go, right, we're going to get the team to build a fence. But then you've still got to deal with Sally, who's pissed off that the fence was done poorly, or the guys had the music up too loud and that pissed off the neighbour, and you've got to go back because you didn't actually finish it because it started raining, but you left your tools there, and then the tools got rust, and then Sally got pissed off because they run over it in the lawnmower, but now you've got the big job back on because Barry said that's ready to go again, but now we've got to go back to Sally, and you're going, why are we even having this convo?
Yeah.
Like, why don't we get them to do something else? I've got to keep them busy. I've got to have something for them to do.
Yeah.
But we were saying to one business owner, there should be enough margin in what you're doing to be able to weather the storm, where sometimes the staff aren't at 100% of their output.
Exactly. And just sitting here, casting my mind back, and maybe it's a bit of trauma from the pack and save days, where it wasn't all fun and games around the checkout terminals and just general idle chit-chat. We actually had to do other jobs, and I distinctly remember having to get a bottle of spray and a cloth, and I tell you what, there was a lot of cleaning that had to be done.
I bet.
And I'm like, I wasn't paid to be a cleaner, but I'm not the boss, and when you're told that you got to do something, you just shut up and you get it done. And I just wonder whether employers these days are maybe a little bit reluctant to get employees to do tasks that they may not necessarily have been employed to do. And on the working on the business one, you often talk about flyers and there's plenty of examples on our school group of people that have gone and printed in flyers. That a few episodes ago, there was the dude in Porirua, I believe, 2,000 flyers a week. It's just like, to do that on your own, if you're a business and you've got staff and you don't have a lot of work on, there's nothing stopping your employees taking 500 of those, pounding the streets.
Good way to teach your staff too that, oh, hey, we need to go do these flyers so that we get some more work to keep everyone employed.
Yep.
Like, that's how a business works. Oh, okay. Probably be a good idea for me to hand some of these flyers out.
Yeah, do you want to just run around the streets and actually put these in some letter boxes, or just put your feet up at home and not get paid because you're not going to have a job?
Yeah, and I think that's using, using's not the right word, but that is, and leveraging probably isn't either, but you're getting staff to do things that are going to generate revenue in the future, right, is what we're trying to say. Now, we had a client who was like, well, when my staff are quiet, I try to get them to do BD. So it could be flyers, but one of them gets them to do calls. So they go back through all the old leads, and they're qualified at what they do. So they ring and say, hey, it's such and such here, I'm a qualified, et cetera, ringing to help you understand what it is that you're going to be doing. Did you do it? Do you have any questions? I can help you understand it. And, oh, wow, this company is ringing me with a qualified XYZ. I can ask them all these different questions. And right, that's what you can do whilst we're going to be quiet. The other classic one that comes up is, we get the team to clean the cars.
Yes.
Yeah. I always think, man, how does that go down when you're like, right, you're cleaning the vans today, but hey, people want to get paid?
I think, it's actually quite cool. If you've got branded vehicles as a business, there's nothing worse than cruising the roads and seeing a sloppy car. But and I can now picture a number of Ford Rangers out there that are branded that are generally quite well looked after. And I don't know whether it's the team cleaning or the dude that's actually driving it, generally speaking, but it does reflect on you and your business. If you I did see, this was kind of ironic, in Auckland recently, a business that was in the automobile industry. I have a feeling it was like panel beating or detailing or something. And it was marked on the car of what they did. The car looked like absolute shite. And I'm just like, you're in an industry of looking after a car and making it look its best, and the one that you're in, you can't even look after it yourself. So why would I trust you with my car when you can't even look after your own?
Yeah.
Like, hello, and you're
it
not
up.
always going to be busy. Like, use your staff to help whatever you're doing for your customers, do on your own product first.
Are you an established business that needs a solid business plan for the next 12 months? What about accountability every single quarter to make sure that you're taking action and getting closer to your goals? Our 12-month business planning service called The Winning Formula will be perfect for you. Over a half day, we'll map out your next 12 months in business, and then we'll meet quarterly to make sure that you're taking action and getting closer to your goals. This service is great for some external perspective, some challenge, and to help you stay focused on what it is that you really need to be doing in your business, which will help you identify. You can apply for The Winning Formula by booking a call at nextadvisory.nz. What we come up with another business owner was, okay, this clearly makes you feel uncomfortable that they may be sitting around twiddling their thumbs. Well, before that happens next time, have a list. So be prepared, like know what they're going to do. Don't wait for it to rain to go, oh sheesh, what are the crew going to do today? You've got to know by the time it rains, okay, it's raining, this is what you're going to do. And individual businesses, I think you want to sit down and build that list that you've got that you can lean on. And it might be, sweeping the sheds or improving the factory area, might be making the cocktail and putting it on social media, making 10 pieces of content that can be stored to go on later on. But often what we're trying to do with a business owner is get them into the frame of mind of working on the business and working on the asset rather than taking on more shit that you shouldn't really be doing and then snowballing in the wrong direction, i.e. then doing another fence and then another one and another one going, no, because eventually that's going to get you busy and it's going to then be the excuse where you go, oh, I don't have time to do the business development that actually solves the overarching problem because I'm now dealing with Sally. I'm sending the invoice. I'm trying to work out how to quote for this fence and what it's actually going to cost. And all of that stuff ends up taking the business owner's time. So you've got to almost back yourself to then do the business development to get the work coming in and accept every now and then there will be nothing to do. But you can't default to the small tasks because you're just going to then do more of those, which will then excuse you from the real business development.
The one that's just jumped into my mind that I find fascinating how many business owners put so much emphasis or importance on is, my systems and processes. I've got to have SOPs. I've got to have all of this fancy stuff. I'm like, you're fucking quiet. You've got all these employees. Like, hello, why aren't they done? Get the screen recording, get whatever it is. AI can generate the stuff. Like, get the team busy doing that stuff. Like, you don't have to do it yourself as the business owner. You think in your mind that you've got to have all of the stuff and you've got to do it. Your employee is probably the best person to be able to do that. You've just got to brief the task to them and go, right, I know you're quiet. Get this done.
Yeah.
And then tick, it's off your list and you can file it away. And no one will ever look at it again. And then when you come to sell your business or somebody asks you about your systems and processes, you can say, yeah, I've got those.
Yeah, they're in this Google Drive. Check them out. You could get a staff member to audio record them doing the process, and then you can turn the audio into a written version, or you could get another team member to film them doing it so that someone can watch it that's starting out and going, oh, okay, so that's how you do this. But we know that processes run businesses, not people. But most SMEs, we go, oh no, that's too boring and hard. I'm not at that stage yet. I'll just keep doing everything. But yeah, processes are definitely something people can work on. The real low hanging fruit, mate, is the old annual leave. If you know you're going to be quiet, can you ask the team, hey, because of course you'd be tracking your annual leave liability fastidiously.
Fastidiously.
Old Palmy Boys word of the week, that one. You'd be going, well, Daniel over there has got a number of annual leave days and we need to get him to slow them down, sorry. So we're going to need you to take some of that annual leave, and maybe they're open to it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I will take an extra couple of days. And so, right, then that's one less person to worry about.
And that would be really confronting for a business owner to have that conversation because they are in a slow period, but they're paying the person to be away on leave.
Yeah.
And not seeing the balance sheet side of the business. Actually, they're burning through something that they owe, a liability, that when it comes to maybe Christmas time or the holiday close down time, they might actually have to take some leave without pay because they've used it up during the quiet period.
What other things, mate? We've got, have the list which we've talked about. Working on the business is the key piece that we're getting here, through to people. Don't just default to, sheesh, that's X amount of dollars going out. I need to get the same amount coming in, because it can lead to further distraction.
A random brain fart, and I think business owners, again, I think if there's a theme with business owners that we work with through the planning work, either on a shorter or long-term phase, that they feel that, like, when you talk to them about all the stuff that they do, they take it on the shoulders that they've got to do it, and then go, okay, well, or if I can't do it, I then need to go to the market to find someone. Well, you've got a bunch of people. One of the things that I think most Kiwis, other than yourself, battle with is putting yourself out there and creating content. And I think, and we've got examples of clients in the past where you've got a business which is perfect for rich content. You've just got to create the content and then put it out there. And the best people to take that content are your employees. Like, empower them, give them the scope to be able to take the pictures, record the videos, write a story like in their own words, or put something and then chuck it into ChatGPT to then turn it into something that you can put out to the world. Your employees, and this is where looking at rather than a cost as an asset, they've got rich business knowledge from the coalface that you can then leverage off as a business owner to then go to the world to get more.
Yeah, it's like, it just seems so simple, right? But it's so hard. I think unless you have that list where you go, okay, that is what we are going to do. I think the other thing too, and this is maybe a little bit yellow of me, but if you know you're going to be quiet, maybe that's the perfect time to do the staff day. Like, you don't need to wait until Christmas. It might be, okay, we're going to do some training on that day, some off-site stuff, and not just down to the pub to play darts and see how many beers we can get through. You might be, okay, that's the day we're going to allocate to that. I remember when I was at Foursquare, going back to your pack and save example before, like, you weren't really supposed to just sit around. It would be, okay, face the shelves.
Yes.
Make some dollar mixtures so that you don't have to do it when, the people are there. Oh, there are a lot of cameras there. Okay, I know where you go. Make sure the pie warmer looks good. Stack the hot dogs up.
Yeah. 100%. Like, just because I was just in my frilly skirt doing the checkouts with getting amongst all the girls, when they needed some big burly strength, it would be going to the where all the goods are and tidying up the shelves and making them look smart. I was just like, yo, Phil, there's no trolleys in where all the trolleys are. You need to get out there and bring some of that. Can I drive the tractor and hoon it around to bring them in? No, you fucking can't. We don't trust you. You're pushing them in by hand. It's like, with these sticks, it's like, you get out there, boy.
It actually taught me a lot, because also if you did an evening shift, there would often not be many customers towards the end. So your role in the final hours were to start getting the business ready for tomorrow.
Yes.
And like, I still do that now. We're on a Sunday. I have a look at my week and think, what could I do now in the next half an hour where I'll just get myself a little bit ahead of where I'm going to end up being by Friday.
Yes.
And I might think, okay, I'm doing a podcast with that person. I might write the title in the description now so that I've broken the back of it, because if I get out of that, then I've got to jump into the next thing because it goes over. Then I'm going to think, oh, sheesh, the activator in me is going to be, oh, you're supposed to title, when am I going to do that? So I'll apply the same Foursquare method. And now even if I'm quiet during the week, then I'll think, okay, what from next week can I do this week? So I think the same thing for a business owner. I'll go, can I go and do some of next week's work
this week
now whilst I have the time, and get kind of break the back of it or just get it started. And then come next week, I'm like, oh, thank gosh that I did that.
Maybe there's the secret sauce there, because Foursquare and Pack and Slave, part of the foodstuffs thing, they're a successful New Zealand business. I mean, they're individually owned through the co-op, I don't know, but they do reasonably well. There's obviously some secret kind of sauce there in terms of how they treat their staff and pay them. But the skills that they then learn to then apply to other aspects, it's just like, as you say, when you're young, 15, 16, it's just like, oh yeah, that then frames you up. And then I think as a business owner, if you haven't been exposed to that in the past, to think, oh shit, that is actually possible. I can ask my team members to do this. Oh yes, there's this, and this, to then use them, and saying use them in a positive context, not, flogging them, but to go, right, let's leverage, let's use them as an asset to be able to go, right, how can we get this business to get ahead, rather than just have them sitting there and just looking at them as a cost and then it's begrudging.
I can't remember who was telling me the other day, but it just sparks my memory. I think it was someone from the foodstuffs, like talking about the foodstuffs business. They'd been talking to somebody there, and they had stats on how many people work at one of their businesses across all that they do in their lifetime. And it's a wild percentage of Kiwi people that end up working in some way, shape, or form for foodstuffs. And then you've got Progressive as well. But for the life of me, can't remember who was telling me. And I remember thinking, holy, like, and we've both done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you think, far
Suckers.
out. Yeah. But how do we then, like, those are big beats. It's almost bad to tell people about supermarkets these days if we get too triggered. But yeah, they are well-run machines to a degree, right? And there's things that we can probably learn from them, but definitely some things that have helped me in my future roles.
Yeah, and I think if it's okay for business owners to do it, there's other businesses that can do it. We do it ourselves. Like, if we play our cards on the table, we've got a fantastic team. And we know that we plough through our compliance and we're not burning them right up till midnight on 31 March to try and file all of our tax returns, with a target of having the overwhelming majority done before the holiday close down, which is just a matter of weeks away. That when we come back in the January and February and March period, there's no pressure to meet this filing deadline. So it's saying, okay, because we don't have this pressure on ourselves from the IRD and therefore onto our team, what are the other things that we can be doing? What are the other things that we can be doing to get ahead for next year? So it's right, let's start and dive into some client files and go, right, let's start and tidy this up so that come 1 April, there's just a few weeks window of bits and pieces we need to be looking at. Boom, accounts are done and we're starting to roll out. And then thinking about, okay, we're starting to head to getting closer to year end. What are some other things we can be thinking about? Dividends, prov tax, all of these other things to start and gear up and get ready so we're ahead of the 8 ball rather than being behind because we're fighting a deadline.
My final piece would be, if you're stuck for your list of things to do, tell Chazza what sort of business that you run and say, hey, occasionally my team are not at full capacity and I don't want to be diving off and doing random pieces of work just to keep them busy. What's a list of things that I could be getting them to do in the quieter times, and what are some things that I could be doing to increase my outreach and business development so that I have less of these quiet times as well?
My final bit would be in an example that was raised earlier to wrap some context of some dollar figures around it, of going, most people that would, and to illustrate the cost or burden aspect of it, going, oh, we're looking at an employee and it's, $1,000 a week. And then going, well, if they're not doing anything for 3 weeks, that's cost me $3,000. And then going, well, across a year, how often does this happen? And it's like, well, not very often. So we've got so much emphasis on a $3,000 issue rather than going, what can we be doing to then get that $3,000 and turn it into $30,000? Because in the scheme of a year, $3,000 to then go and win your next bit of work isn't overly material. And then when you put it in that way for a particular business owner, it was like almost a light bulb moment of going, oh yeah, actually. And even if it was 5 weeks and it was $5,000, okay, I can swallow that. That's okay, because I can see I've got a pipeline. I understand my cash flow. There's all these other things. Yeah, okay, that's actually not so bad. I don't need to lay them off. I can keep them busy on this list that I'm going to work on. All's well.
Love it. Staff don't just have to be a cost that you've then got to find a way to create revenue. They can be an investment that are going to generate an increase in return via increasing the value of your asset.